Hey, surprise! We're back again with another very sporadic installment of Leave That Thing Alone, your favorite Rush podcast, because I don't know how else you would have discovered it at this point. It's been, what, 2, 3 months, 4 months?
Oh, it's been like 6, I think. It's been a while. Sorry about that, guys. We haven't run out of steam. We're just trying to get ready for the steampunk that awaits us.
Yeah, we haven't run out of steam, but much like Rush before Presto, we took 6 months off.
Sometimes you got to take a little hiatus.
It's true.
Recharge your creative juices. I just hope it worked better for us than it did for Rush.
Well, opinions, and that's cool. That's what makes America great, folks, is everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Also, one of my favorite Mr. T Experience records. But this is a show where we talk about Rush album by album, and we have now moved almost into the 90s with a record that was released on November the 21st of 1989.
Just before my birthday.
Entitled Presto.
Presto.
And the album cover of this is one of my favorite album covers by Rush. Possibly one of my favorite album covers of all time.
This is a really good one, actually. I'm glad you called my attention to that, because I'd kind of spaced out how cool it is just as like a visual artifact. It's a little ominous, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a levitating hat, a top hat, there's a rabbit crawling out of it, and then there's just all these rabbits.
It's just a shit ton of rabbits. It's like an upsetting quantity of rabbits.
Yeah, which if you saw Rush live around this point in time, which I did, their stage show also consisted of 2 top hats with a giant inflatable rabbits that would come out during certain moments of the song and were operated by some kind of like marionette people, and they would kind of bop around to the song. It was pretty cool.
That sounds low-key terrifying.
It was.
Especially because, so this came out in 89. You would have seen them in 90 on the tour.
I saw them. It was actually the Roll the Bones tour, which says a lot about Roll the Bones, which we're going to get to later. But the focus of the Roll the Bones tour was mostly Presto.
Okay, so, but you're like 12 or 13.
I would have been a 14 or 15 when I saw them the first time, yeah. Primus was the opener.
Ooh.
Yeah. So there was a lot of bass nerding going on in the audience, for sure. And I was in bass nerd heaven, for sure.
It's hard to imagine a show better than that, unless, I guess in 94, Firehose is just about to break up, but they're still on Columbia, as Mike Watt would say, working for Mr. Sony. So it's just barely in the realm of possibility that they could have been like the third opener.
I guess the Chili Peppers were too big to
they
open
were too big
a show.
By then,
but yeah, maybe Fishbone.
Right.
Yeah, I was trying to think of some other bass heroics.
I mean, Bootsy isn't sharing the stage with anybody, so that's not going to happen.
No, I think at this point in time, definitely not.
But short of that, yeah, that's about as good a 4-string experience as you're going to find yourself.
Oh, and there were more than 4 strings on Les Claypool's bass, let me tell you that. That ugly, weird monstrosity. But anyway, to get back to Rush's Presto, 13th studio album.
Just Presto play, if you will.
This came right after they decided to leave Mercury Records on amiable terms. And at this point, Rush was successful and wealthy enough that they just decided to take a 6-month hiatus, much like our podcast, except they did it on purpose.
Which isn't really that long, I don't think. Maybe the times were a little bit different, but they hadn't exactly been on the album tour rhythm for kind of a while.
I don't know if that's true or not, to be totally honest, but they definitely took 6 months where they didn't even rehearse or really do anything as a band.
Damn.
And around this point in time, Neil Peart went on a bicycle trip around Africa and wrote a book about it called The Masked Rider, Cycling in West Africa, and absorbed a lot of musical influence, which comes through on this record at times in a pretty awkward way. I'm not sure what Geddy and Alex were doing during that time, probably just chilling with their families, because I think we'll discover moving forward, this is one of the most daddish records that Rush has put out.
You can definitely see a lot of probably not Maple Leafs games, but probably a lot of Blue Jays games for them. Probably a lot of soccer practices, maybe a little, remodeling the kitchen conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I know for a fact that this is around the time that Getty's son was becoming a teenager. I think that probably happened in a less visible degree in the other members' families as well.
The first song, Show Don't Tell, is actually something that Alex routinely had to say to the contractor as he was having the addition built.
Yeah, but so they decided they were going to recalibrate during their time off, and they wanted to kind of move away from the synthesizer sound.
Which had been a real era for Rush. I think it's also, we just have to say, worth noting, their previous record, Hold Your Fire, was, to that time, I think the lowest charting record they'd had in a decade, right? It had one kind of big top 40 hit in
Time Stand Still.
Time Stand Still, but was not the kind of raucous rockin' Rush record I think a lot of people were in the mood for, and was coming on the heels of two other very chilly, very keyboard heavy, Cold War paranoid kind of albums, whereas Hold Your Fire was kind of maybe a move toward a slightly warmer direction.
Yeah, and I think this is interesting though, because when you read quotes from them about this, they said, like, here's a quote: when Lifeson and Lee discussed what musical direction to take, they agreed that the core of the band's sound, emotion, and energy had come from the guitar, and that's something they wanted to return to for Presto.
They wanted to get back.
And because, as Lifeson said, he had felt constricted in his guitar playing since they'd kind of moved towards synths, and he wanted to rock out more. But I think that's really interesting, because this record, despite their efforts to do that, I don't think really accomplishes it in a lot of ways. Like, this to me feels like more of a natural follow-up to Hold Your Fire than a radical departure, which I think kind of says something about, the subconscious in songwriting.
I think that's fair, but it's definitely another step. Hold Your Fire is rockier than Grace Under Pressure by a good little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So it's, the guitars really bottom out, I think, at Grace Under Pressure.
Power Windows,
maybe.
Yeah,
start to kind of come back a little tiny bit into Hold Your Fire. Definitely are much more forward in this. And it also might be that the guitars were playing a bigger role in the songwriting process, not so much the finished product.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely the vocals were, too. Like, Getty's been quoted many times as saying, like, he wanted this record to be kind of about the vocal melody as opposed to the instrumental heroics.
That is fascinating, because I was realizing that over the last couple days that this is the best collection of vocal melodies on a single Rush album.
Yeah.
I think. I
agree. There are missteps for sure, but I think those missteps come maybe in the music trying to serve the vocal melody that maybe isn't quite as good as some of the other tracks. But they also brought in a new producer on this. They didn't have Peter Collins come back. They brought in Rupert Hine, who had produced, at that point, was mostly known for The Fix and Thompson Twins, which is pretty interesting.
That explains maybe that some of the guitars might have been present in intention but suppressed by a producer who probably didn't have a lot of experience making a guitar-heavy record.
And also, I want to quote Neil Peart here, because this made me feel a little bad for Rush, to be honest. This is Peart recalling the time when they showed their song ideas that they wanted to record to Rupert Hine. We were a little bemused at the end. Of some of them, he seemed to actually be laughing. We looked at each other, eyebrows raised, as if to say, he thinks our songs are funny? But evidently it was a laugh of pleasure, because he stayed till the end. But unfortunately, I think he might have been laughing at some of these songs, and it'll be pretty obvious which ones as we move forward song by song. But I don't know that Rupert Hine really got the vision they were going for. They only worked with him one time again, which is on Roll the Bones. We'll talk about next time, which is, I would say, maybe the absolute bottoming out of Rush's production. The studio element of Rush's work, for sure. That's when they decided they were going to have Geddy Lee rap. Bad things happen on that record, folks.
I mean, there were some mediocre decisions made on this record, too. I want to give a little bit more background, and this comes out of Martin Popoff's magisterial book, Rush, An Illustrated History.
Nice.
That I've referred to many a time. Martin Popoff, the god. I think... Stay tuned. There may be more to say on that front someday.
Popoff the God also sounds like a really dope battle rapper.
Totally. So he bridges the gap between Hold Your Fire and Presto with a couple of paragraphs I'd like to read you. Change of a more abstract nature was afoot as well. The 6-month tour for Hold Your Fire almost did the band in. Geddy was sick most of the time, family relations had suffered, and the increasing technological challenge of carting around so much gear had each member of the band quietly daydreaming about a life without Rush.
Oh, wow.
Rush would be saved by a well-earned 6 months away, a time in which, as Neil put it, the guys, quote, got to know ourselves and our families once again. Part of the reason this could happen was that A Show of Hands was the last record the band owed to Mercury.
The live one.
So there's a live record, and as we've said before, we're going to get through the studio ones and then probably go back through the live ones. That'll be interesting.
Which, A Show of Hands, by the way, one of the first Rush records I bought. It's a really, really good live record.
So apparently at Mercury, they had a long relationship, but also one guy, Cliff Bernstein, had been very much the Rush guy at Mercury, and he was gone.
Okay.
So, the contract is up. Hold Your Fire didn't do very well. Kind of sheds a little more light on why they might have not renewed that relationship, right?
Yeah, and then they ended up signing with Atlantic, I believe. Yeah.
Who had been kind of legendary for giving bands a long leash.
Yeah.
I think Atlantic had always had the reputation of doing business in a way that what we think the fans like is when bands are left to be bands. We're not going to ask Band A to sound like Band B. We're going to ask Band A to sound the most like Band A.
And not go, where's the hit? Where's the hit?
Right.
You need to get to the chorus within 45 seconds or we will not release this track.
Right. So way back in the day, Rupert Hine had actually been in the mix to produce Grace Under Pressure. When they fired Steve Lillywhite.
Okay.
So apparently they'd been thinking about it for a long time, but that again kind of helps explain why this is not maybe the big guitar record we thought Rush might be shooting for, because it was a producer that they'd thought about working with in the absolute peak of their synthesizer period.
He's
right?
definitely a new wave guy. When you look at his credits, even his post-Rush stuff is like Suzanne Vega, it's not guitar rock for sure.
And, by the way, if I can ask just one question, drawing on, again, Mike Watt and D. Boone, do you want new wave?
No.
Or do you want the truth?
This is one of my favorite quotes about the way they worked at this point in time, which was similar to the way they worked before, which was Lifeson and Lee would work on the music, and then Pert would kind of come in and work on some vocals. And he described it as, quote unquote, at the end of the day, I might wander into the studio, ice cubes clinking, and listen to what they've been up to. And if I'd been lucky, show them something new. I'm like, that's the daddest thing you could possibly say. I love imagining Neil just wandering in with like a glass of whiskey, like, chinka, 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 like, fellas, it's pretty interesting.
Again, so Popoff had some quotes that are like, they were reacting against the synthy process as much as they were the synthy sound, and they just wanted to see what they could do as a trio.
Yeah, and kind of getting back to three guys with three instruments.
Right. And what's the first song they wrote for this album?
I don't know.
In fine, we can't figure out how to sequence this album tradition, a legendary problem for me, anyway, for Rush.
Show Don't Tell?
Show Don't Tell.
So the first song on the album is the first song they wrote. Cool.
It's actually a trick that Lou Reed once suggested. He was like, if you're ever having total trouble sequencing your record. He said this about the New York record, which is kind of a song cycle about characters from New York.
Yeah.
He's like, we couldn't figure out how to sequence it. An old trick that I'd learned is if you can't figure it out, just put it in the order they were recorded.
There you go.
Yeah.
That works.
Kind of gets it done.
Just for what it's worth, my personal history here, I fully remember this record because I bought the CD and the guitar tab book at the exact same time.
Nice.
I already knew that I loved Rush.
Same store?
Yes, at the same time. Specs
yeah.
Music, Florida staple.
That's such a moment. I'm sorry, I don't mean to stop you, but I want to wallow in this moment
It was
for
so good.
just a second. If you've never had the experience of carrying a record and the how to play this record on your own instrument book up to the counter, let me just tell you, it's a big mood.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm going to go home and I'm not just going to enjoy this music. I'm going to learn how to play it.
Yeah.
And so I think most of the time I spent listening to this album, I spent playing along with it.
With a guitar in your hand or with a bass in your hand, I guess at the time.
Yeah.
What was it? Was it?
Well, it was guitar because
Okay.
that was what they had the tab book for.
Okay.
Bass tab books were hard to come by. And before the internet, bass tab in general was pretty difficult to find. The one
Besides,
exception,
what do you need tab for open E on the kick drum? It's not that hard, folks.
The first one I remember seeing was Red Hot Chili Peppers' Blood Sugar Sex Magic had guitar tab and bass tab in the same book.
Right.
So it was like $40.
And that is, because Flea is not your average bass player. And Anthony Kiedis convinced Flea that when it comes to a guitar book, the approach Flea should take is to say to the compiler of the guitar book, no, what I got, you got to get it and put it in
this.
here.
Yeah. Well, also to be fair, the guitar section was super thin, and then the bass section was the bulk of the book.
Yeah, so I was mostly into ska at this time, as people know, and the guitar tab books for ska were not that deep either.
Upbeats here. Chick, chick, chick. Yeah.
Yeah. So, wait, so you're just saying I nail my hand on the 12 fret, hold down 2 or sometimes 3,
And then just pick up.
pick, all right,
Pick it up.
I guess.
All right. So, yeah, that was my experience with this record. I think it may have colored my view quite a bit because I spent most of my time listening to this, learning to play along with it, for sure. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's worth mentioning.
I definitely think so. Can I give you my experience with this record?
Certainly.
So I recorded Rush podcast. And the last episode we did was sort of my first or first and a half Rush record. And, I had experiences with that back in the day when it was released. I had never heard a note off this.
Really?
I
never heard Show Don't Tell, even on the radio or anything?
Nope.
Wow. It was a #1 hit.
Maybe on the Canadian aging prog rocker Billboard chart.
Billboard mainstream rock singles.
No fucking
Because
way.
this was a point in time when Billboard still had alternative and mainstream charts.
Okay, I was listening to rock radio in 1989. I was doing very little other than listening to rock radio in 1989. Had never heard a note of this and really struggled to find my way with it. At the end of the day, I think it's kind of a Rorschach blot. There's not much here because every time I've sat down and hit play on this, I've just reinforced the mood I was already in. If I was grumpy at work, I was like, this is the worst record I've ever fucking heard. On the way over here, I'm in a pretty good mood. I'm drinking my coffee. The sun is shining. I'm going to hang out with my pal Jay and record some podcasts. And I'm listening to it. And I'm like, oh man, the verse riff in the second song fucking rules. And I'd listened to it a dozen times by then. And believe me, had never once thought the verse riff here fucking rules.
That's interesting.
So I think that there is kind of a here for you, but you have to bring something to it, quality to this record.
I think that's fair. And I think the fact that it opens with Show Don't Tell doesn't help because, here, let's talk about Show Don't Tell. We're going to listen to it first and get up to speed. We'll be right back. All right, so Show Don't Tell. This song starts out with about 20 seconds of nothing.
Yeah.
And I feel like
choice.
Yeah, it's a really weird choice to start an album out with just a little kind of percussion vamp with some like synth washes that are very quiet.
But mixed so low, if you're not listening in the best possible environment, you will not hear any of it. And all you will think is my stereo on and working right now?
Yeah, if you were like listening to this on BART, like with headphones on, like say like a subway system for the non-Bay Area residents, you're not going to hear all the little beep, beep, boop, beep, beep, boop, boop stuff going on. You're just going to be like, why does this song not start until 23 seconds in? And then it comes in with the fucking kitchen sink. I have in my notes that the intro riff to this song, I think, is what the kids today call extra. Because everybody's doing so much.
Yeah.
And it's a little overwhelming, for sure.
I think that my big problem with this record, not to, lay everything on the first 3 bars, is this is a band right now that doesn't really have any ideas.
Yeah.
And they're kind of falling back on old tricks over and over again. And one of them is, well, we're all pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can jam and it'll sound at least tolerable. And then if we just do 20 seconds of that, then it's not just a boring song because there's something weird that happened. And I feel like that happens about 800,000 times over the course of this record.
Yeah, the intro to this song, and it's also the chorus verse, I guess, it has a feel of like kind of a jazz fusion, like a Tony Williams Lifetime or like Mahavishnu Orchestra, where there's a bunch of stops, and they're like stop, and then like there's a lot of listen. We can all play the same thing at the same time,
right?
And stop here for unexpected amounts of time. And I personally really enjoy it, but it's a lot.
I mean,
it's a lot to soak in.
I think that's very fair. So this song, I don't know, my note on it, this song has finally Stockholm syndromed me into basically liking it. Like the main riff is the thing that I'm most dicey on.
It's a little funky.
It's a little funky, which is always a major red flag for me with Rush. There's also a little blues bend in it that is not my particular favorite.
Yeah.
But
once again, everything.
Yeah. It is very technical, I will say. The other big problem, the chorus of this song to me is pure candy. Like, I really like that, but there's also these chimes through it that just make me laugh because it is such a, like, I'm an old guy.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that those to me signify pop song.
Oh, absolutely. And it's the same thing Yes did on Owner of a Lonely Heart.
And there is an age cutoff, and I would love to do a survey to determine exactly the point at which somebody is like, why are there these annoying ass fake bells in this?
This is right around the same time the Ramones were doing this in songs
Probably,
too, right? Like Bonzo Goes to Bitburg has the big chimes in it.
Or even like Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of, I enjoy it, but it makes me laugh. But then, so this song is like many, many songs on this record. There is exactly one song on this record that is under the 4-minute mark. That song comes in at the 3:59 mark.
That's one of my problems with this record is there are too many 4 to 6 minute songs.
Every song, is in that range. And to me, this song is pretty okay until about 3:05. The problem is it's 2 minutes longer than that, and those 2 minutes are mostly, this is a term that Jay taught me, comes from professional wrestling and its world. Let me get my shit in itis.
Get my shit in, yeah. Mr. Gizby.
Yeah.
Get my shit in, Gimsy.
because it's just 100%, including, and we gotta own up when we fuck up.
Yeah. Okay. So I've argued many times there is not an actual bass solo in the Rush catalog,
at least in the studio.
Yeah.
World.
This song has a bass solo in it, and I tried really hard to think of it as anything but that, but it's a 16-bar show-off section for Geddy with a lot of very fast playing, and it's a bass solo.
Yeah, what's anybody else doing? Nothing. They're kind of laying back and providing a bed.
And the last section, the last 2 bars, Neil is pretty much playing along with Geddy.
Right.
But yeah, it's a bass solo, and
but I'm
embarrassed to admit.
But it doesn't make it not a guitar solo if over the last 2 bars the bass is doubling you. That doesn't mean it wasn't a guitar solo.
Yeah.
It means that at the end of your guitar solo, the bass player decided to show off too.
Yeah, exactly.
And in this case, it doesn't mean it's not a bass solo. It just means that the drummer decided to get some shit in as well.
I think that this song does what a lot of songs on this record do, and it's a tick that Rush had developed. At some point, I would say, even on their last record, it shows up, where it's like they have a lot of disparate parts of this song. And then around a minute before the end, they bring all of those parts back together. So you have, the vocals from the chorus going on over this riff that they played, a couple times earlier, and everything kind of that they've done before comes back all at one chunk at the same time. Yeah. It's like a reprisal all of a sudden. And they do that on almost every song on this record. And don't get me wrong, I still want to say I really like this record because I think that's a trick that works. You apparently don't like that trick, and I can totally see why you wouldn't like this record. If you're just like, oh, they're out of ideas, this part is repetitive.
It's not that I don't like the trick. It's that to me, the trick's success depends on whether or not those parts are any good. And to me, these parts aren't that good. So recombining them and stacking them in an unexpected way, okay, fine. But I don't like shit cake and piss tea better when you serve them to me at the same time.
It's like, here's your 7-course meal in a KFC bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
So then again, like I said, I basically like this song at this point. I would like a single edit of it so much more.
Yeah. Also, lyrically, this song is goofy as hell, because this is another one of those kind of extended metaphors that isn't a metaphor. Like, at first I'm like, oh, they're singing about court, and it must mean something else. And then about halfway through it, you realize they're just talking about court stuff.
Like going to court?
Yeah, like, show me, don't tell me, witness takes the stand, like, enough of your demands.
Yeah,
like,
what if that's actually about a relationship, and you're talking to your lady, or if you're a lady, or a fella, you're talking to your, whatever, man.
Yeah, you're talking to your partner.
You're talking to your partner.
I think you're asking.
You feel like you're on the witness stand. What if somebody's telling you all the right things, but you're like,
see,
show me,
that's what I want this song to be about. But that's asking your audience to do a lot of work when your lyrics are literally like talking about like present the facts to the jury and stuff like that.
I just, I think this is a band that is not shy about asking us to do the work. For example, in the next song, they ask us to do the work of imagining that there's a vocal melody there.
Ooh, that's rough. Okay, let's continue. Chain Lightning is the next one, and we're going to talk about it. Respond, vibrate, feedback, and resonate. Collision.
Yeah.
What the fuck is a sundog?
I don't know, but it sounds really friendly. And yes, please, would pet.
Anyway, this song is on the album.
Might be the second best song on the album, not just the second song on the album.
Wow. That's a bold statement.
I mean, the verse riff, I am an extremely big fan of.
This has some really cool discordant riffage.
Yeah.
The verse riff, Geddy's playing chords on the bass that are just fucking killer.
It's got a super kind of paranoid vibe, like a paranoid stalking the city kind of city streets kind of vibe, without resorting to, oh, paranoia, that means one synth texture for 9 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, and it starts out with some of those big 80s chords that I love, and then it's followed by atonal riffage with a lot of stops, which I also love. So this is definitely, it's going to draw me in personally.
It's good. The whole song is like, I don't know. This was a struggle for me because I was like, I can tell this is a pastiche, but I can't quite tell of what. And I guess if I had to, like, you know, Getty staring at me and asking me, telling me I have to answer, I'd be like, I don't know, the 80s? At which point I think he would smile, clap me on the back, and hand me a foamy yellow beer. And then we could...
a Molson Ice?
Yeah, and then we could watch the rest of the Blue Jays game.
Probably.
In affable companionship.
Yeah, there's definitely the guitar playing in this and the riff in this just feels very 80s in a good way. However, the chorus of this song kind of destroys it.
It's got a stop-start nature to it, and as you pointed out, what the main thing it stops is the momentum of the song.
Yeah, I mean, because right up until that point, you're doing some good chugging on 8 notes, like everything's
so
really
chuggy.
Rocking, and then all of a sudden it's like junk junk, which only works if you're like in like a fucking early 2000s straight edge hardcore band.
And it needs to be either, I don't know, 20% faster or like 50% slower to work. You know what I mean? It's like, I think that's the big problem with the stop part, is it's just enough to break the momentum, but not enough to be compelling on its own.
Yeah.
Like it would be if there were a longer silence. And it's not quite enough to be exciting, which it would be if the silence was a lot shorter. So I think, again, here, maybe we have like a producer hampering the song polishing process a bit.
Definitely. And, you know, this is, like we said earlier, I'd say this is one of Rush's most kind of songwriter-ish records.
Yeah.
And this feels like an attempt to bring that to the forefront that I think kind of stumbles a little bit because the melody isn't super good. But there's a lot of focus put on the melody during the chorus, and it kind of doesn't hold up under the light of scrutiny.
It's as close to guitar / bass / vocals do same thing at same time as Rush ever really comes.
Yeah. Although I will say I love the guitar solo in this. I love it especially because it's short. I think it's about 16 bars, and I could not tell at first listen whether it was recorded backwards or not, because Alex is just going crazy with the tremolo.
Yeah, it's whammy bar central. It has that fretless guitar feel that either you like or you don't. But if you were listening to a lot of kind of out guitar in the mid to late 80s, early 90s, I hope you liked it, because there was a lot of it, my friends.
Once again, Alex has been listening to his Sonny Sharrock records, I feel like, or Vernon Reed maybe. But it's definitely, it's got that New York loft jazz, like atonal as fuck.
Yeah. And he's a curious guy.
Yeah.
Like, if you throw a piece of technology in his path, he's going to figure out exactly what its limits are. And it's very clear that he's got a truly floating whammy bar set up.
Yeah.
And he is going to show you it.
One where you can pull a note up just as far as you can push it down.
Yep.
And there is a lot of...
And there is a 100% chance that if they do this song live and he does that, he hands off that guitar after the solo, because it is the most badly out of tune thing on the planet at that moment.
That's why I only play guitars with fixed bridges now.
Yep.
I think the song would be better with Amy Mann singing backup on it.
So that was another thing. Like, we just listened to it. You mentioned, oh, I kind of like it. It sounds like Time Stands Still. And then about 40 seconds later, you said, oh, I kind of like this part. It sounds like Manhattan Project.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been quite long enough, my friends, for you to give us a rewrite of either of those songs.
It's a valid point. I mean, definitely a valid point. But, you know, as far as kind of unremarkable mid-record tracks go, I think this is a pretty decent song. I just wish the chorus was a little less dopey, I guess is a good word for it. It's kind of got this goofy earnestness that doesn't feel fully fleshed out from a melodic standpoint.
I think that's fair. I think not fully fleshed out from a melodic standpoint is something you could also say about the verse vocal melody. I think to me, the ceiling of this song is a little higher than for you.
Yeah.
If this song had execution, inspiration, etc. levels matching how cool I think that Chugga Chugga riff is, this would be one of my favorite songs.
I have a really hard time with this song because it comes right before my like fucking favorite song on this record by a long shot, which we're about to talk about. But we can't talk about Chain Lightning without talking about the very ending of it, which is Joe. That's nice.
Okay.
Down.
That's nice.
Which follows, I wasn't counting. Do you think it was 8 million or 400 billion iterations of a fairly mediocre chorus bridge?
They definitely repeat the chorus a lot. Could have done with a truck driver's gear change. I think that might have helped.
Could have done with a razor blade on the 2-inch tape.
That's true too, yeah. The little trip to the editing block, that wouldn't have hurt. But it ends with a stop and then a slowed down voice, which I imagine is one of the band saying, That's nice. And then they all do a little hit at the end, which is, I feel like this is probably an inside joke amongst the band.
Yeah.
And this is one of the hazards of being a band for as long as Rush has been for this.
Yeah,
at this point.
Guitar tech Billifer wouldn't stop saying it, and it just killed because he just wouldn't stop saying. He got his shoes back from the hotel and they weren't shined. That's nice.
Yeah,
he got a really good meal that he was happy with. That's nice.
I'm sure this meant something to the band, and it was a great inside joke, but it's like, I have no idea what that means, and what it actually means is that your relatively serious song up until this point ends with a really weird joke that I don't get.
I paid $8.99 for this cassette. And now you're just making me feel like I'm a dumbass.
That's the nice price with that sticker, you know?
No, those were $6.99.
Oh,
I mean,
right.
by now, by '89, probably everything was $8.99 at best.
Yeah, I mean, I got this on CD, and this was the era of the long box, so this would have been about $18 back in the day, which, when you think about it, adjusted for inflation, man, CDs were fucking expensive.
This is one of the reasons I have a tiny bit of lack of sympathy for the record industry when they talk about
really good record label, by the way.
Plummeting profits and profit margins.
Yeah.
No, you convinced everybody to rebuy their collections 2 or 3 times in the space of 15 years. And the reason that the profit margins aren't what you want them to be is because you haven't been able to do that since.
Yeah,
you're not comparing a sustainable industry to a sustainable industry. You're comparing a sustainable industry to gouging your fucking audience.
Yeah, I'm sorry you can't resell the Beatles catalog on a new format because the old one is now unplayable.
You predatory shit stains.
But yeah, That's Nice thing. I feel like I love the fact that Rush has a sense of humor. I wish sometimes that I was a little more in on their jokes, and this just seemed like a really weird place to drop that.
Fair.
Should be mentioned in the liner notes once again. This is an album that was brought to you by a letter. In this case, it's the letter D. I don't know what that means.
Ditchweed? Maybe they just couldn't get good weed.
I discovered, actually, Neil talking about the reason why Power Windows was brought to you by the letter M is because, 6 out of the 10 tracks on it all start with the letter M. Whoa. And he just thought that was funny. I don't know why this one was brought to you by the letter D, and then later on in their catalog, they have one that's brought to you by the letter, I don't know how to say it. It's the A and the E that are combined.
Oh, yeah.
And one that is brought to you by the letter brrr, which is a Scottish brogue, according to Getty.
That's actually, okay, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
The letter D, again, thank you very much for your joke. Appreciate that you're the kinds of fellows who like to make jokes. Sadly, I have some bad news about the cruising altitude of that joke vis-a-vis the altitude of my head.
Yeah. This was around a point in time, you mentioned Show of Hands. On that tour, and on the live record, during Tom Sawyer, it sounds like Geddy Lee is saying, catch the mystery, catch the fish. And I've always wondered if he actually said that. Did some research. Turns out he is singing Catch the Fish because there was a running joke on the tour where they were tormenting Neil by putting a fish, which I can only assume is a rubber one or a plastic one, I hope, into like his drum cases, like on his kit. So when he'd go out to play, there'd be a fish on his snare drum. And I guess halfway through that tour, Geddy just started singing Catch the Fish instead of Catch the Myth. And that ended up on their live album.
Oh my God.
So this is not a band that's opposed to airing out their inside jokes in public. But I kind of love the fish story. I love That's Nice a lot less.
Yeah, and honestly, there is at least one other possibility that one could take to the interpretation of that funny joke, which is, could you guys climb down out of your own asses and actually try as hard to entertain us as you
you're
are
entertaining yourself?
Yeah.
Well, it's the nature of, I mean, they've been a touring band for what, 15, 16 years at this point? You live in a bubble.
Yeah.
You know? But anyway.
Also, it takes time and effort to get really good at playing your instruments. I get that. You're going to want to show off the results of that time and effort.
Well, speaking of which, let's move on to the next song here, The Pass.
Static on your frequency, electrical storm in your veins, raging out unreachable glory, straining out invisible chains. And now you're trembling on a rocky ledge, staring down into
So here's the part where we're going to come to blows. Because I think The Pass, the third song on this, may have been one of the most important songs of my childhood, or at least my early teenage years.
And again, this was your first, not your first Rush record, but your first new Rush record.
Definitely, I would say. No, I mean, this came out when I was 10, so I came back to it. I think Roll the Bones was my first new Rush record.
Okay.
But then I went back and picked up
But
Presto.
still pretty early.
Yeah, I went back and picked up Presto. This was probably the second Rush album I learned or heard. It was definitely the first one I learned because I bought the guitar book. But this song, as a weird, depressed teenage kid that was bullied a lot and made fun of and stuff, this shit just hit me right where I needed to be hit. Like, it's what it's about, you know? It's about being a teenager that wants to give up, and like, it's just really powerful, like musically and lyrically. So I have a hard time, like, I know that there's a lot about this song that's corny, but I have a hard time separating it from my experience, you know?
Yeah, no, I have zero problem with the corn in the song, and I'm very glad that there's no backwards K corn in this song, because I don't think Rush would be very good at that.
No.
Although,
Getty feeling like a freak on a leash.
oh my God, if there is a, I don't know, board tape of Geddy out there just trying his hand at like, boom, boom, like, I would like to hear
Doing
that.
some Jonathan Davis style scat singing.
Yeah. And if you have that tape, you can find me at I don't even own a television at gmail.com. I don't have a huge problem with this song. I do kind of wonder, did we really need a rewritten Second Nature one record later? But this definitely makes Second Nature sound like a bad demo. And that's on past Rush. That's on 1987 Rush for releasing a bad demo instead of continuing to workshop it and release the good version of this. Like, you described this off air as a perfect prom song.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly right. Like, I've had this joke theory in the back of my head for a couple of decades now that every so often Billy Joe from Green Day, who I think, you know, you can have whatever opinion about him you do, but I think he is, when he feels like it, a legitimately great pop songwriter.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that every couple of years he sits down and just says, I'm going to write this year's prom song. And then does.
I could see. I mean, he was doing that before they were even huge. Like, their songs are on Kerplunk that feel like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because he just can.
Yeah.
And I think that this is Rush's biggest bite at that apple, and I think it mostly succeeds. I think unless you're in a mood for it, or unless you're paying attention for it, it kind of feels a little wallpapery.
Huh.
But-
See, that's so different from my experience. Like, this song gives me goosebumps. I
Yeah.
have a hard time talking about it without feeling like I'm going to cry. Like,
Yeah,
it's
no.
so powerful to me.
It is definitely like big, major key, like open, hard, ba-na-na-na-na, like anthem stuff in a way that not every prog band was going to do.
Yeah.
Not every pop band was going to do. I mean, this is 1989. College rock bands weren't going in for big, sweeping melodies like this. And this is kind of grabbing a few elements from the Byrds filtered through REM.
Yeah.
A few elements from, I don't know, I mean, always the Beatles for them. But just a few, like, just big kind of 80s movie climactic moments.
Yeah, totally. And it gets me. And you aren't going to hear this focus on melody in like popular rock music again.
Right.
Until like kind of the emo thing starts to become mainstream. But like there are parts of this song that to me feel the way like a Sunny Day Real Estate song did the first time I heard it or something, which is a weird comparison to make because musically there's nothing in common there. But there's just such a big, earnest kind of, I don't care if this is corny or not. Like,
Right.
I want to touch your heart with this feeling that I love.
You know, I just realized is the cadence of the guitar part of the, you know, the big emo anthemic part
Yeah.
is da-na, da-na, which is exactly the cadence of, to me, the greatest teen suicide moment of all time in Fade to Black.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Or as I think of it, Metallica's last good song,
this is... Yeah,
which
this
came
is-
out only maybe 2 years before this. I think Ride the Lightning
Yeah.
hit in 87 and this dropped in 89, which shows you how weirdly compressed the 80s were in some moments. Like Rush is releasing Grace Under Pressure at the exact same time Metallica is trying and failing to convince their record label to release an album called Metal Up Your Ass.
Yeah.
And instead settling for the non-confrontational mellow title of Kill 'Em All.
Yeah. I do want to say, like, as far as lyrics go, like, I feel like this is Neil Peart at his best. There's the chorus with the, now you're trembling on a rocky ledge, staring down into a heartless sea. Like, that to me is amazing. Like, that foreshadows a lot of stuff that, you know, like, other groups do later on, and I know it's not super unique, but it's just so emotional for Neil. He's not writing behind like 3 layers of detached irony or I saw this on the Science Channel or whatever. It's like Neil writing about feelings
Yeah.
and doing a really good job at it.
Yeah, I don't think those are Neil's problems. I think Neil's problems are the same problems as Craig Finn from Hold Steady, which is a song where an old guy tells young people how he thinks the world works is exactly as interesting as a conversation at the bar where an old guy
Yeah.
tells a young guy how the world works.
We're going to get to that more next, but I do, there's
But I just want to say, I think you're exactly right to call out that this is not common territory for him, and I think it's I think it's great. Although I disagree slightly. Of course, I think Neil's best lyrics are number 1, Prince Bytor versus the Snow Dog, and number 2, YYZ.
oh, that's funny.
This is nominally a comedy show. Come on.
That's mean as hell, dude. Just a list of like Neil Peart's best lyrics, and then it's every instrumental from every Rush album.
Every drum solo.
No, this is obviously. Hang on. This obviously is a song about teen suicide. Neil Peart wrote it because of a friend of his who joined him on his cycling trip.
Really?
And they had a long discussion about, I guess, his friend's son had killed himself or something like that. And so Neil like named it, and he said this is the song he's worked the hardest on in his life lyrically because the subject nature was so delicate. As a group, Rush still considers this one of the best songs they've ever written. And Peart said this track is the reason why if he could pick one album to re-record now, it would be Presto. And it's because of this song.
Well, as always, when you try to make fun of Neil Peart, you look like an asshole, and by you I mean me.
There's a part in this song where everything stops and the lyrics just say, Christ, what have you done? And oh my God, it kills me every time. And it does stymie the momentum. But to me, I love a good stop with a powerful lyric. So, yeah.
That's really interesting. So one of the things we know about Rush is that they kept their ears open for a lot longer than many of their peers did, who kind of settled back on their old tricks. So we have two things that have happened, out of 3 songs so far. Big stops. One of those 2 big stops, including like kind of an exclaimed, ejaculated lyric.
Yeah.
Right? That's one trick. The other trick is lots of disparate parts coming together at the end of a song. Mm-hmm. Who in Rush was listening to a lot of musicals?
Ooh, that's a good point.
As they were getting ready for that, because those are both pretty common tricks in musical theater.
That's interesting, too, because I am a sucker for rock music that resembles musical theater, and maybe that's why this one gets me so much beyond my own personal experience with it. But like, I mean, the Cursive album, The Ugly Organ, for instance, like has a ton of musical theater in it, and like I'm a sucker for that too. And like,
I mean, at roughly the same time you were listening to this and tearing up, I was, and this is not a joke, crying while listening to a cast recording of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh yeah.
Because there's some sad fucking moments in that. And there's also some sad moments stapled to big fucking melodies.
Yeah.
And if you want this guy to feel some feelings, I can recommend 2 quick, easy ways to do so. 1, staple some powerful feelings to a big melody. Or number 2, if you don't happen to have any of those things, just show me a picture of a dog.
Yeah, that'll work.
That'll also work.
No, I mean, yeah, I spent most of the late 90s listening to bands like Braid and stuff like that. Big melodies and sad lyrics, to me, that's catnip.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But, okay, let's move on. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about War Paint, baby.
Oof, you thought the 8 millionth cover of War Pigs made you tired. How about War Paint? How'd that treat you, Jay?
Ain't nobody covering this.
Zing!
So this is Rush being dads for sure. I feel like the past, which we just talked about, is definitely Neil writing, empathizing with teenage feelings.
He's having some feelings and he's telling you about them, and it's great.
This is like a lecture from a stepdad, but in music form, where it's like, here's what youth culture is like. By the way, we're almost 40.
I mean, there literally is I mentioned Hold Steady. There's literally a Hold Steady song with the lyric, "Guys, we can do better." And it's just like, oh my fucking God.
I think a lot of this feels to me like bad pop punk does when it's performed by guys in their 30s and they're writing like about high school love affairs and stuff.
Oh, so you mean pop punk?
Yeah, exactly.
Zing.
Most of it. Like Wested, for example, who became Beach Slang, well-regarded group. Their whole gimmick was well into their 30s, writing songs about like giving girls their class rings and varsity jackets and stuff. And this kind of felt like that to me, for sure.
Sounds like some jock bullshit to me. So yeah, this song is 100% like 80s teen movie soundtrack vibes.
Oh yeah.
Wait,
it could have been Subdivision.
Actually, as a joke, I was doing the big... Remember that 80s dance where you clap and swing your arms to one side, and then you clap and swing your arms to the other side?
Well, if you were a straight edge kid in the 90s, that was still going on, and we just called it clap dancing.
That's about 4 minutes of the song, but this song does something unique on this record. So most of these songs have about 3 minutes of goodness to them, and it's the first 3 minutes. This song throws us a mighty curveball.
That's true, because this song is really not good.
Weak ass tea.
until about 45 seconds before the end of it, when they bring back all the parts, as we've discussed.
Yeah.
And everything comes back together, and suddenly the song makes sense. And you're like, oh, this is what they've been building up to the whole time. And then it's over.
Right. Yeah, we don't have to spend, I think, a huge amount of time in this. It's just mid-album filler and kind of chasing a dragon that Rush was never, ever going to ride.
And also, Rush is a little too old to be writing lyrics like boys and girls together, let's do anything.
Yeah.
Because at this point, you are neither boys nor girls.
Yeah.
You are grown-ass men, and we're seeing through your ruse, my friends, no matter how much you sound like Simply Red.
Yeah, what are you trying to pull off here? Like, boys and girls together, let's all go paint my deck.
Boys and girls together, let's get home at a responsible time so our parents will not fret.
Boys and girls together, you're dancing a little too close.
Hands leg between your waist. Yeah, it's a little much. It's a little much.
So it's a prom song like the past was, but this one is unfortunately tinged with the perspective of the chaperone.
Yeah, exactly. Boys and girls together. Could you please be quiet for 10 minutes so I can get through my fucking lecture?
Boys and girls together, let's keep those hands where I can see you.
You said keep your hands where my eyes can see, man. It's a tick. Let me see just what you got for me. Straight buck wildin' in the place to be.
Truly,
If
there are
you
things
really
I
wanna
don't
party with me,
understand in the world.
Put my hands where my eyes can see. Straight
one
buck
of 'em.
wildin' in the place to be. Okay. I'm going to edit a bunch of that out.
Something like a phenomenon.
It's Busta Rhymes, man.
Great. I don't know every Busta Rhymes song.
Well, that's on you.
I don't know any Busta Rhymes song.
Oh, well, speaking of funky, because Busta Rhymes, very funky fella. Let's move on to Scars. Scars and pleasure, scars and pain, atmospheric changes make them sensitive again.
Again.
Yeah, it's my
Again
least,
and again
it's
and
my
again.
least favorite forced rhyme in the world of rock music.
Yeah.
Is pain and again.
Right.
Because nobody says again like that.
Unless you're the first Ministry album when they were still trying to be Duran Duran, and they say, you did it again and again and again. And then the next record, they were trying to be a bad metal band.
Yeah. The first one's the one with Every Day is Halloween, right? Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anywho, back to Scars.
My first note is, oh no, it's Funky Rush again.
Man, yeah, it's pretty cool of Geddy to yoink the Megadeth bass intro they used to play at the beginning of MTV News.
Totally. And there's some fucking bongos going on.
Oh, yes.
Because this is one of those songs. It features, quote unquote, a complex rhythm pattern with both acoustic and electronic drums. The pattern was derived from a tribal rhythm Neil experienced while on a bicycle tour of Africa. To which my response is, oh no.
I don't mind that part as much. I think it would have been improved if Geddy weren't playing a Megadeth funk bass line over it, and if Alex
Funk.
weren't angrily in the background just like wailing on his guitar with one of his unused guitar straps.
Yeah, no, it totally sounds like anytime there's like a blip of space, Alex is like, oh shit, fellas, I'm like gonna step up and play a disembodied blues riff.
How about a curling note here, fellows?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it it goes together not that well.
Yeah. No, this song is painful. Also, the lyrics are really, really bad. The chorus, to me, once again, I was like, this is like peak dad rock. Because like the whole scars of pleasure, scars of pain, atmospheric changes make them sensitive again. I'm like, this could be an ad for like Ben Gay or something.
I mean, like, I've been on long bike trips. Trust me, I fucking know whereof you speak, Neil. I just didn't write a song.
Yeah. No, this could be an ad for a pain reliever. I feel
Scars
like.
of pleasure, scars of pain. Afternoon in the saddles, relic mate hurt my taint.
Like, only Tylenol can make me feel that good again.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just it's got that bad Tyshawn vibe, a little bit of like cultural tourism to an extent.
And I blame that honestly less on Neil, who brought it in, but I think had thought about it and cared about it. Honestly, I blame it a little bit more on the necessity to bring the rest of the band in. Because like, yeah, no, I don't expect Geddy and Alex to be super interested in Neil's new Asian drum set.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily expect them to be super interested in his West African rhythms that he heard. I would probably prefer, this one is on you, Neil, that you not put Serengeti into the lyrics over your West African
It's a
drum
little
rhythm.
it's a little obvious.
Yeah.
So I think we both kind of had this eating at us. This very much feels like Rush trying to be another band.
Yeah.
And like for many years it's been nagging at me, and today I finally realized who I thought this is trying to sound like. And I checked the timeline and it does track.
Okay.
And to me, this is Rush doing Midnight Oil.
Oh.
Like, this feels like Beds Are Burning kind of shit to me.
Interesting.
Very much, like, right down to the kind of tribal percussion. And, you know, like, it feels very Midnight Oil-ish.
Okay.
And I'm not a huge Midnight Oil fan. I like a couple of their songs, generally as interpreted by other artists.
Okay.
But, yeah, I was not feeling this.
I thought because a lot of that sense, a lot of that vibe was nagging at me through every one of my listenings to this record. By the way, I have never once listened to this record start to finish. I do not believe this record can be listened to start to finish. However, at about 3:30 or so, Alex starts doubling Geddy's bass, but in kind of a muted, percussive way on the guitar. And I was like, oh, are they doing Oingo Boingo?
Yeah, I could kind of hear that too. But to me, the weird faux tribalism combined with the kind of style of melody they're doing just really felt Midnight Oil to me.
Yeah.
Like, very much Beds Are Burning kind of, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think that's much more dead on, because I kind of doubt that they were sitting around listening to a lot of Oingo Boingo.
They probably knew Dead Man's Party because it was in that movie.
What, Weird Science?
Yeah, Weird Science. That's the movie.
Just because they watched it on the tour bus a lot?
I imagine that they probably loved Weird Science, actually.
It's a pretty good movie.
Which, don't go back and watch it now. It's very problematic.
The politics probably didn't hold up. Gonna guess.
It's got Revenge of the Nerds syndrome, we'll say.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on, I guess it's time to get to the title track.
Fuck. Yes, one of the many songs that made me say, Presto, I wish that there was some magic that could make you change-o.
Oh, damn.
If I could wave my magic wand, I am made from the dust of the stars, and the oceans flow in my veins.
Ooh, it's time for some acoustic jamming. Presto, Change-o. Why is this the title track?
Fuck, you got me, man.
There are parts of the melody I like, but the strumming pattern and the 12-stringedness is like some total butt rock shit. And this feels like a campfire song in the worst possible way.
Especially the early part of it, it is pure Disney musical. The protagonist sings in his
Ooh.
high, piercing tenor about his feelings and what he wished would happen, as he says, "If I had a magic wand." And then, of course, 2 lines later, it's, "But of course, there's no such thing as magic."
That's true.
And then presumably a Robin Williams character pops up behind him and is like, "Well, if there was such a thing as magic, imagine the adventures we could have, young peasant boy."
Congratulations, you've just described Kingdom Hearts 3.
And Aladdin, probably.
Oh, but yeah, you're right. It does. It has a Disney musical vibe to it. And I don't know, man. It's kind of a non-entity.
There's not a lot of there to me. I've heard this, like, you asked me if I wanted to continue playing this off air as we were reacquainting ourselves with the song. You're like, do you want to keep playing it? It does the thing where all the parts come back and they're played at the same time. And I got to admit, I got a little bit snappish. Because like, no, I've heard all those parts.
It is true, though, that this is another one of those songs where they reprise everything at the end, and it starts to sound like a much better song about 30 seconds before it ends.
Maybe. Like, I actually like I like the bit at the very beginning where it does sort of sound lightly campfire-ish, lightly Disney musical-ish. But then the middle, say, 3.5, 4 minutes are roll soggy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like, I can tell what they're trying to do, because when you know what's coming, there's like a mid-verse riff that they do that feels like a tease or a hint towards a big moment that happens at the end of the song, which is cool if you know that big moment's coming, but if you don't, it just kind of feels like a wasted opportunity, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when they finally do follow
Bust
through,
out the lighter part.
Yeah, exactly. When they follow through and take you all the way to the part where you want to be like, yeah, you've been hinting at this all along. It's great, but it takes a long time to get there in this song.
Yeah. So, speaking of magic wands, this song made me think repeatedly of a song I like much better, that is entitled Wand, by a band called Thin White Rope that about 9 people have heard of. That I was probably not quite listening to in 1989, but was very close to discovering, because we had a sort of 120 minutes style video program that played mostly like weird alt shit.
Oh, like a local cable TV station. Yeah, we had something similar.
Except it was on our local PBS station, and it was called Teletoons. And they would play the Thin White Rope song or the video Red, Red Sun a lot. And I was like, wow, this is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. And so I kind of chased it down, which led me to discover this song, whose lyrics I'm about to read to you. And it's going to take a while.
All right, that's fine.
So buckle up.
I got my beer.
This is what Presto makes me wish I were listening to every single time. The whites of this wand are culled from a visit to the Valley of the Bones, the black staffs carved from tropic wood cut down in summer storms. As hot and cold air rub together make lightning in the sky, so do these distillates of 2 dark lands conjoin to endow. It was a pretentious time. I'm sorry.
Dude, are you just reading the lyrics to a sleep song?
That's the first fucking verse.
I feel like I'm listening to Dope Smoker.
Look through the air. Do you see contrails gone from the sky? Yeah, and you see love light reflected from Ed Gein's eye. Doctors and orderlies weep as children are born. A rash of mistakes sweeps the nation's maternity wards.
Oh my God.
Bodyguards everywhere turn and suck their guns. Every leader is sterilized along with his firstborn son. We can't find the airwaves. They've disappeared into next week. At last, God is silent. He's lost all his power to speak. It might be the last of the changes you'd see, but I'll make my mother a house on the hill that overlooks the sea. Get off on this wand if you want, but let me tell you, girl, it's about as effective as my dick for changing the world.
Wow.
I feel like it's a bit of a Shaggy Dog lyric.
They really build you up and then let you down.
About as effective as my dick for changing the world is maybe the best lyric I've heard this week.
It's pretty good. It is pretty good. For a while there, things got very when you mention Ed Gein and stuff, I'm like, oh, this is 90s alternative rock for sure.
It's great when you hear it because it's over the most common country rock beat ever. Like the bass part of that entire song is just doom 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 doom, and there's just this guy yelling at you. I didn't know what 90% of those words were, even though I've been listening to that song for 20 plus years until I looked it up. But anyway, Wand, better than Presto.
Just for some reason in my mind, I'm hearing this as like kind of a Pursuit of Happiness or a King Missile kind of song.
No, it's straight. Imagine Sonic Youth covering a country rock song.
Oh, weird.
With a guy.
So Super Suckers then.
But sloppier.
Huh.
And the guy's got like just kind of a yelling hoarse voice.
All right, I will imagine that as we listen to Superconductor because I would rather imagine anything than listen to this song. Here we go.
Really?
Package like a rebel or a hero. Target mass appeal. Make an audience feel he really means it. Package the illusion.
One of the few songs that I think makes us both laugh out loud.
I can't believe you just said you thought I would like this.
I thought you would love this.
No, this is the worst song on this record by a mile.
Oh, man.
Like, it's trying so hard to rock, but it's trying so hard to rock intelligently.
But you know it wants to rock because it's got the truck driver change built right into the main riff.
It's true. But it also is, like... Rush does a lot of work in off times. And generally what makes it cool is that you don't really notice that it's an off time unless you're really paying attention. Like Tom Sawyer is full of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, there's something unusual and off kilter about this song that I'm enjoying.
This song is in 7/8 and it's basically begging you to count to 7 the entire time it's being played. And like it drives me fucking crazy. Like because I'm like I don't know how to describe it other than to say it needs that extra beat to resolve where it's trying to go, but it never does it because it's like, look, we're prog rock. And
but it doesn't want to resolve, man. It just wants to carry you along.
plus, it does the thing that I really don't like that Rush does when Rush gets all meta and writes music about music. And this whole song just feels like it's about the entertainment biz, which I'm going to make one exception. Limelight is
Right,
an incredible song.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that is not included here.
Yeah, we're not talking about salesman.
Yeah, but this is very much like, here's what music is, and like, it's entertainment and all this stuff, and it's just very like, oh, it just feels so forced to me.
You worked a lot harder on that because every time I'm listening to this, all I can think is, what are these fucking lyrics, man?
They're cringy, but it's just got that where it's like it's got that blues bendy thing that you don't like. It's
actually,
like the shitty part of Red Barchetta,
Yeah.
over and over and over again.
I actually kind of like the main riff of this. The count to 7 thing is not something that either appeals to me or that I'm frankly capable of noticing. Like, I thought that riff was pretty good, but it's pretty good in a that's pretty good, I don't care, but it's pretty good way. Like, there's just nothing really here until the chorus, which I do legitimately like. It's just silly in a way that Rush is almost never silly.
Watch his every move. Superconductor. Orchestrate illusions.
Watch
But it's
his
fun.
energy surge, superconductor.
Superconductor.
It is kind of cool.
I like that you did the low part and I did the high part there.
Yeah.
Really, really well produced move on our part. But so is this the first Rush record where there are multiple backing vocals that are just like singing the chorus that aren't Getty? Because they did that on Show Don't Tell.
Yeah.
And they do that on this. And that's not...
And the past has Getty harmonizing with himself.
Yeah, that's not like a Rush move. And it won't be like somebody singing something and then the chorus happening under it. You know what I mean? This is like a new trick for Rush, I think.
Yeah, I think live, Alex did a lot of the singing backup Alex isn't a bad singer. Like, definitely when I saw him live, he can sing backup just fine. But I feel like this is definitely one of the first cases on record of Geddy overdubbing multiple tracks of himself singing, for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's just kind of interesting because it makes you think Rush is going for a non-Rush thing.
Yeah.
And that's always, I don't know, it's kind of always a weird moment.
Yeah, I would like this song so much more if it wasn't framed in that 7/8, and that may be an artifact of me listening to this song while learning to play it on the guitar.
Fair.
But it's impossible for me to listen to this without going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it gets annoying really fast.
It's weird that you hate that, though. I think it's actually, like I said, I think it's a good riff. It's not a riff I'm going to write my mom about.
It sticks out. And I think good off times are the off times that you don't notice, where you still feel like you could kind of dance to the song.
Maybe it's because the whole verse is in it instead of like it being used as a spice. It's the entire meal.
Yeah, and the downbeat always comes on the 1. So it's not like they're throwing in that 7/8 just, because the song demands it. It very much feels like, let's write a song in 7/8. Or I think it might be 7/4, depending on how you count it. But either way, it's a 7-beat song, which is awkward, and it's really exaggerated. Like, it's like how your music teacher would teach you how to play in 7s.
If you could have seen Jay's face right there, it's Jay tries to teach Collision how to do off time. And honestly, that is closer than I have ever gotten to getting it. I think if I could just get a gif of that and then just like go home and practice on my bass, I could finally learn how to play Money by Pink Floyd in the trickiest time signature of all, 5/4.
Ooh, that one's crazy. Just a personal rant. I hate
A
it when
song
people
you've heard 10 million times.
Personal rant. I hate it when people who don't know about music theory try to like pause it and make up a fake time signature. They're like, that's in like an 8/13, and it's like, no, there's no such thing as a 13th note. All right. Anyway,
I can play a 13th note, not on purpose and not more than once. But I can play it so out of time that what it was supposed to be.
Microtones, but rhythm.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, that's not a 12th note, and it's damn sure not a 16th note because you can't move that fucking fast. What are you doing, lad? And I'm like, I don't know.
A double dot.
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, Superconductor, one of the rare songs whose name is also the name of a band I would much rather be listening to than the song. Usually when that happens, by the way, it goes the other way. I have some, I'm not going to call them friends because nobody who could say something as stupid as what I'm about to say could possibly be my friend. But I've got some acquaintances who reject the excellent Oakland band Super Unison.
Well, they are wrong.
Because the name is the name of a Drive Like Jehu song.
Well, that's because it's the name of a fucking guitar pedal.
Well,
they both got it from the name of the pedal.
Listen, man, I don't know about that.
Okay.
Because I don't know about pedals.
I know from listening to Super Unison, the band, the odds are is that they got it from the pedal and not the drive song.
And what I know about Super Unison from listening to the band is that's a good band that makes me happy when I hear the music they make.
Uh-huh.
And that they could be called Chris Collision, You Suck Balls. And I'd still be like, well, I have some disagreements with how they came to their name, but I like the band.
Yeah.
The music's pretty good.
No, I think it was a Boss or a Roland. It's just a chorus pedal, but it makes it sound like two guitars instead of one. And the Super Unison pedal, it's from the 70s.
So anywho.
It's like naming your band Big Muff.
Right. Which... Okay, I'm just going to say it. If you're an all-girl band who wants to wear roller skates
I want to say
while you play...
The Lookout Records Act, the Muffs, I believe, has beat you to this.
This is something I realized the other day. I was at a record store years ago and just sort of like flipping through, saw a, cover for an all-girl band, saw the name of the band, didn't think anything of it, and then like... A month later, it went through my head, and I realized that this is the most offensive band name of all time. The band was called Snatches of Pink.
Snatches of... I've heard them. It's pretty clever.
Good joke, guys.
Yeah.
good fucking joke.
My favorite thing in band names is when you're trying to make your audience uncomfortable.
Yeah.
When you describe them to other people. So yeah.
Have I told the Butthole Surfers story on this before?
I don't know. I don't think so.
So in the aftermath of Pepper, the Butthole Surfers were riding high.
The really bad Butthole Surfer song that sounded like Beck. Yeah.
Which, turned the Butthole Surfers from a largely unsuccessful band into an MTV approved band making lots of money.
That were still called the Butthole Surfers.
They're still called the Butthole Surfers. Rolling Stone did an interview with them. They were playing some festival, probably one of the last gasp Lollapaloozas. And the writer asked Gibby, "So, do you ever regret calling your band the Butthole Surfers?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, man, all the time. I wish I'd never done that. That's just a decision I regret all the damn time." Because in my head, Gibby sounds a lot like Boomhauer.
Yeah,
because
I was just
if you've
thinking
ever
that.
heard Gibby talk, he sounds a lot like Boomhauer. And the writer perks up and is like, "Oh my God, this is going to be fucking amazing." Like, "Oh my God, so if you had to do it all over again, what would you call your band?" If you're easily offended, or if it is possible to offend you in any way, hit the 10-second skip button. Because Gibby's answer was, "I'm going to shit in your mother's vagina."
Well, that sounds on brand for Gibby Haynes, for sure.
And that's what happens when you ask one of the most offensive men who ever lived a very stupid leading question.
I do like, in the wake of the early 2000s, there were the anthrax attacks with people mailing politicians anthrax in envelopes.
Right.
And somebody asked Scott Ian if his band was going to be renaming themselves in the wake of that. And they issued a press release that said Anthrax was going to change their name to Basket Full of Kittens. Surprisingly, never followed through on that one.
I don't love Anthrax's music, but I kind of love Anthrax.
Yeah, I think they're pretty great. Well, instead of anthrax, we need to talk about anagrams for Mongo. And here we go.
Oh, wait, is that a Blazing Saddles joke?
It totally is. It's Candygram for Mongo, but it's a joke. Yeah.
There's a snake coming out of the darkness, rain from paradise, and the need for reading, chase the dreams of merchandise. There is tick-tock in atomic, leaders make a deal. Cosmic is largely comic, a con they couldn't conceal. There is no safe seat at the feast. Take your best dive at the
So, full disclosure, I got the Blazing Saddles joke in real time. That had never occurred to me. And while we were re-listening to the song was the first time that I put together the cosmic is largely comic.
There is no safe seat at the beast.
Yeah. Oh, it's a bad near anagram, and I couldn't be angrier at this song now, which represents a marked step up, because before that I was just like, oh, this sounds exactly like three other songs I didn't like on this record, except with slightly more energy.
Nope. This is all. You can't spell blank without the blank, which is not an anagram. You have to use every letter, and there's only like 2 or 3 actual examples in this song of real anagrams, but it's all stuff like what is it? Image just an eyeless game. Like if you take the I off of image, you can rearrange the other letters.
Okay, that's actually
that one
the best one.
Yeah, it is
by a mile.
But ultimately, like what you have here is Will Shortz writing a rock song for like an NPR call-in game.
Oh my God! So can I tell the Will Shortz story I heard this morning?
Sure.
So it was the game where they're going to give you 2 words, and you need to come up with a word that goes in the middle. So the first word, your word, will be the second word in a 2-word phrase.
Okay.
And for the second word they give you, your word will be the first word in that 2-word
So
phrase.
I'm guessing they won't accept fucking, because that would work for like every single
everything.
one.
Yeah, and that would just be a very, very common phrase. So the cue was polar sex And the guy on the phone was just like, and he'd kind of done this for every word. He was just kind of like thinking out loud, kind of musing. He's like, well, obviously what I'm thinking is bear.
Bear sex.
And not Will Shortz, but Lulu Garcia Navarro lost her fucking mind laughing. I have never heard anybody laugh this hard on NPR.
What was the answer?
Opposite.
Oh, polar opposite sex. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I think they honestly probably should have just given him
Bear. I was thinking anal.
polar anal.
I don't know. Probably happens up there too.
That's a fair point. You know what? When you're right, you're right.
Who the fuck knows how penguins do it, man? Yeah, so we're not talking a lot about
Richard
this song.
Attenborough.
Yeah, Richard Attenborough probably does. Whoever the March of the Penguins guy was, definitely does.
Yeah, we're not talking about that song because there's nothing to talk about.
There's a lot of muted notes. There's a very kind of, restrained 80s influence melody, and then a set of lyrics that are just uncomfortably silly. And in my notes, I was even like, if I was Rupert Hine, I'd be laughing at this too.
Yeah. I mean, so we've talked about this. This is, how many songs are on this record? 12?
Something like that, 12 or 11.
I think it's 11, and they're all between 4 and 5 minutes long. That means if you take this song off, you have no fewer than 10 4 to 5 minute songs.
Yeah.
That means you have at least 45 minutes of music without this song.
It's really weird too, because
Pure filler.
when this was released, it did come out on vinyl at the time, and there was actually like a note in the liner notes that you had to play side A louder than side B because the length of the sides was so different.
And
they're like, the
side
band
B, there was just too many grooves.
Yeah, well, the band suggests that you turn up side A because it will be quieter than side B. It's like that maybe is a little clue that you could have done without some of these.
Also, there's not a song on this record, with the possible exception of The Pass, if you are J.W. Friedman, that could not be a minute shorter.
Disagree, but that's okay.
Well, you disagree with The Pass.
I disagree with The Pass. I also disagree with another song.
Okay, so let's just say that 9 songs on this could be 1 minute shorter.
Oh, absolutely.
And this song barely exists and thus could have been left off the album.
This is a world where CD singles were still a thing. This easily could have been a B-side on a CD single. It didn't have to be on the Presto album.
Yeah, this
it's a word exercise. I mean, the quote from Neil is, "This song doesn't mean anything. It was just a fun thing, but there's some great twists in there." And like, these aren't twists, Neil. You're just doing some dumb wordplay.
I mean, I'm going to say something slightly meaner. I mean, I actually kind of like the twists now that they've been pointed out to me. If you're a Rush song whose best attribute is the lyrics, you're probably not a top-tier Rush song.
It's a good point. It's a valid point.
If the other guys had brought something to the table, then this would be fine. But there are parts in this that I swear to God are just sampled from other songs on this record.
Oh, for sure.
And if you were going to sample from other Rush records, which I recommend that you do, this would not be the one I would start with.
See, I'd love to agree with you, but The Pass is one of my favorite Rush songs, and it's mostly because of the lyrics. So
but that's all I'm saying is, like, if Geddy and Alex had brought something cool to this song of their own, instead of just recycling it, then this song could have really been something.
No, that's true. And The Pass works because the lyrics are all on top of a really powerful sounding song, whereas this is just a silly joke lyric on top of some dudes who sound like they're not trying very hard. Yeah, I could hear that.
Again, a little out of ideas. I really think that is the problem that I have with this record, is it just does not sound like anybody is very excited to be playing any of this.
Well, just wait until we get to Roll the Bones and you discover what happens when Rush has too many ideas. But up next, let's talk about the other song I think that could not be any shorter than it is, Red Tide.
Ted Ride.
Fugitives at the bedroom door, lovers pause to find an open store. Rain is burning on the forest floor, and the red tide kisses the shore. This is not a false alarm, this is not a test.
So, Collision, Have you ever experienced red tide?
I've experienced Roll Tide. I've experienced.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've experienced. Oh shit! Was that movie? Oh shit! No, sorry, I was confused. Crimson Tide? No,
that's Roll Tide.
That is also Roll Tide. Sorry, my brain was telling me that Roll Tide and Hunt for Red October were somehow two different.
No,
things.
So Red Tide. I think one of the reasons I like this song as much as I did,
it's a spooky coastal thing.
Yeah,
right?
It happens a lot in Florida on the Gulf Coast, which is where I was living when I picked this up.
Right.
And basically, it's of an environmental concern. It's a particular type of algae that makes it impossible to go outside. Like, it'll burn your eyes. It kills, like, fish just wash up dead on the fucking beach and stuff. So, like, even though this is a very kind of trite, obvious environmental anthem.
Oh, I don't think it's that trite or obvious, especially in like 89. Like, come on, this is good stuff.
That's a good point. But it felt very personal and geared towards me at that point because I'm like, they're singing about red tide. Nobody knows about red tide that doesn't live in Florida.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No,
I was feeling it.
I think that's good. Like, and this is like the song where I started to kind of turn the corner on this record a little bit, and I realized, oh, this whole record is very good-hearted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, maybe the inspiration levels weren't the highest that they'd ever been in Rush's career, but this is not a cynical, let's grind it out and get on the charts kind of exercise in any way. It's just, like I said, a little flat. But this song has a lot of heart behind it. I do think there's just not a lot of energy behind this particular track. You described it as one of Geddy's best performances vocally.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't have a disagreement with that. One of the things that this song makes me realize is I want to defend the production a little bit because this record is not exactly Rush at their most minimal, and Rush is never at their most minimal. But the oddball piano and like there's a straight up synth solo later.
Yeah.
And those are both integrated really beautifully. And it made me realize, with the exception of the drums, which are very tinny throughout, this is one of the best produced Rush records, which is a little bit odd because it's not somebody who I think was super simpatico with the band.
Yeah.
But to integrate both of those weird ass elements, the song sounds perfectly cohesive and perfectly coherent.
Yeah, even with like the weird synth horn stabs and that giant smack 80s snare drum, like there's Alex is playing his kit and then there's that 80s electronic like gated verb snare.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it's something else. But yeah, it fits in really well.
I think so. I mean, I don't know. But again, this whole record just like really makes me wonder why it exists.
I really like, after listening to this song, I want to revisit kind of a quote here with Geddy Lee saying that they wanted Presto to be, quote unquote, a reaction against technology. I was getting sick and tired of working with computers and synthesizers, so we made a pact to stay away from strings, pianos, and organs, to stay away from digital technology. In the end, we couldn't resist using them for color, because this song has just as much of that shit as fucking Hold Your Fire did.
But it feels more like extra flourishes than what the song is built around.
That's fair.
I think that, again, like, I do think that when they talked about all that, they were really thinking much more about process than final product.
Yeah.
Because this sounds like three guys playing a song and then adding some stuff around the edges to embellish it than, certainly Grace Under Pressure, which sounded like three guys playing synthesizers and then building stuff on top of that.
That's fair. Writing songs around a synthesizer riff versus adding that in for color and flavor.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Something you wanted to talk about for sure is the end of this song. There are a lot of just very straightforward fills on the drums, which is Neil going like da 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 da.
And like you put it together for me because I was just like, what is he even doing? And then you taught me this is Neil trying for minimalism. He can't just not do the fill. He can't be Phil Rudd. from AC/DC,
Yeah.
who never played a fill.
Yeah.
He's like, well, there has to be something there, but what if it's just 2 sticks on one drum playing one pattern?
Yeah, he can't not do the fill, but he's like, what if it was just eighth notes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit like, can you imagine any other instrument doing that? Like, what would it sound like if Alex just like grabbed the guitar and was just like, okay, that's it, guys.
I mean, a lot of white blues players, I feel like that's how they approach the guitar.
John Mayer wept, sir.
But I was trying to think of any example of like any other instrument where you just play a fill every 4 bars, whether or not it's complicated or not. And all I can think about is like blues jams,
Right, yeah, I
where
mean,
it's like, ooh, here's a little double stop bend.
You would get kicked the fuck out of most bands for doing that, except that here's the problem: there aren't that many drummers.
Yeah, and also, it's Neil.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just mean in general, that's why you don't hear in other things. And obviously, yeah, if you're in a band with Neil Peart, you're not going to be like, how about just a little 4/4 time keep in there, bud?
Yeah. I mean, you could try.
And I wrote my own lyrics, by the way, so we're not going to need your binder this time.
God damn it. But this one here is all about how energy works.
No, it's cool, man. I got mine. It's about a girl.
Oh, God damn it. We're intelligent music, dude.
Well, it's about an intelligent girl. It's about holding hands so that we can use both of our hands to turn the page at the same time.
Would it be about holding hand over fist, perhaps? Segway!
Hand over fist, paper around the stone. Scissors cut the paper to the bone. Hand over fist, paper around the stone. Scissors cut the paper and the rock must stand alone.
You ready for some twinkle funk? So that's what we just listened to, twinkle funk.
That's a good brand, and I encourage you to develop it further. I'll be as far away as possible while you're doing that, preferably out of earshot.
Yeah, in my notes, I was like, this is twinkle funk.
Yeah,
Because the guitar is
the
very
only word for
twinkly.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the beat, well, not the beat. The bass is funky. This is not a funk song. If the Fabulous Flames were playing this, James Brown would summarily fire the entire band and have them replaced with locals.
I would disagree with one thing, though. It's not just the bass. This is Alex's turn to get funky because he's doing the thing. And, it's not great. The issue I have with, like, the bad songs on this record is something I mentioned before, where it feels like everything kind of doesn't sync up until like the end. And this song especially, like if you skip to 1 minute before the end of this song, it's a really good song. But it doesn't happen until they bring all of these like totally incoherent parts together at the end.
I'm going to steal a line from the worst music writer of all time, Chuck Eddy, who pointed out, if you take all the parts you like best in your meal and put them aside so you can eat them at the very, very end and like have a real treat for yourself, by the time you get there, it's all cold.
Yeah, it's totally valid.
That is the weakness of this song. Like, I feel like the song Croissant doesn't really start until about 2 minutes 30 in. It goes for about 20 seconds and then does this patented Presto era rush trick where it then takes it down a notch and makes it impossible to pay attention to or care about before restarting. And then finally, putting everything back together. But it just takes too long to get to the diner.
To me, it feels like they finally figured out the groove and what they wanted to do with the song there. It's like everything else was kind of experimenting with various parts, and by the time they kind of get it together, they're doing the old fade out the master bus, and you've got 30 seconds left to enjoy the song. It's also one of those tunes where everything is kind of built around the vocal melody, which is the base of most of this record, but the vocal melody doesn't really hold up to it, which I feel like I've said about a couple songs here, but this is definitely one of those songs where it's like a lot of it feels like it was written to highlight the vocals, the instrumental track, and then the vocals aren't really coming through.
There's some, I think the performance is really good. There's some of that old Getty urgency and intensity, and energy, but the melody itself is not that great. And as I realized this time, it falls back to, this is by no means a Neil only failing, but is kind of a well-regarded rock lyricist failing, which is, it's not a cliche if you put two of them in a row. There's a line that goes something like, disappear into the crowd, head in the clouds.
Yeah.
And, you're not interestingly juxtaposing two things to productive advantage if they are two utterly mundane commonplaces.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I mean, this whole song, the chorus is based around rock, paper, scissors, which symbolically the band got a lot of mileage out of using the graphics of hands doing the rock, paper, scissors thing.
There are only 3 of them.
Yeah, and they put that all over everything around this time. And so they got a lot of play out of the symbology of the lyrics, but like hand over fist, papers around the stone, scissors cut the paper to the bone. It's like, dude, you're almost singing a nursery rhyme at that point.
And then Spock comes in. He has a place he wins.
Yeah. Wait, what's that one? Yeah, I don't know about the whole rock, paper, scissors thing going on here at all.
Finger guns are dramatic tonight. They shed a lot of light.
Yeah, I mean, I guess ostensibly they're kind of doing a metaphor here with, like, he says something about relaxing his hand and not making a fist and all this kind of stuff. It's like, oh.
Jay, it sounds like somebody could have, with respect to his lyrics, used a hand.
You missed it because Collision whipped off his glasses dramatically, so I had to do the won't get fooled again, Al. Oh, we've been talking about Rush a lot and drinking a lot.
Oh, wow. Also, hand over fist. I get it now.
Yeah.
It's a peace over war thing.
Yeah.
Paper, like money, capitalism will solve our war. I'm sure that's not what the song is actually about.
I think the song was "Don't make a fist. Fists are bad."
You might say I'm trying to tailor the song to my own preconceptions.
It's entirely possible.
Using scissors.
I think I've had a little too much to drink, but luckily we only have one more song left.
Thank God.
Unfortunately, it's available light. We'll be right back.
Restless wind, I've seen all things in every kind of light. Rising with the full moon to go howling through the night. Sleepless wind.
So that was the last song. In keeping with tradition, I feel like Rush has jammed all of the good songs on this record onto side A, and side B is side B has got me drunk, and not on the music, but on the beer I've had to drink to keep up with it.
To get through the record. Available light. You know what that light is? That light is when you're on stage and somebody starts flicking a red light at you. That means your time is done.
It's, your open mic fucking 30-second cue.
Get off the stage.
Yeah. This song, oh boy. I feel like it's going to be controversial for us to not like this. And I don't know why, but I just have a feeling like this song is very anthemic, but in an obvious way. And I just have this bizarre feeling that a lot of people really like this song. I am not one of those people.
Okay, I feel like this song is, and I've played this card before, but this song is oral wallpaper at Brian Eno at his ambientist to me. Like, this song barely exists. I kind of like the, friendly piano riffage at the beginning. I think it's kind of cool that Geddy's finally admitting he writes some of this shit on a piano. Great. I just wish he had workshopped it a little bit more. This song, There's just not. It's no.
No. I mean, this is definitely the era when every rock band thought they needed to have like a capital B ballad on their album, and this is that.
But you already had The Pass.
The Pass is not a ballad, dude.
Yeah, but you can slow dance through the first
It's a
half
power
of it.
ballad, I guess.
And then, then you take it to the van or you take it to the bushes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
A little penetrative.
This gets a little rockin' towards 121 in a way that's hilarious to me, and I will drop it in during the editing here because it is, to me, it made me laugh out loud. Where I was like, "This is, hey, remember Red Barchetta?
Yeah,
we can still do that." Then they play a riff from Red Barchetta for like a minute.
It's more, it's more truck wreck than truck driver because it really does feel like an awkward ass splice.
Yeah. And just the thing that really, really bugs me about this song and why I feel like it should not have been the last song is Alex does not sound like Alex Lifeson on this song. Mm-mm. He's playing guitar like a bad Mark Knopfler imitation. And there's this weird, like during the verse, he's playing all these bluesy Dire Straits, Sultans of Swing kind of riffs.
And we've been through this many, many a time. Rush may have started as a semi-good Zepp cover tribute act. The blues is not their number one strength.
No, and I mean, Alex is an amazing guitar player.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's capable of doing a very, very passable Mark Knopfler imitation. That's not what I listen to Rush for, and not what I want to hear from a Rush song.
Right.
Especially when you can tell he's just kind of doing it to keep himself occupied.
Right.
Because this is one of those piano, keyboard heavy songs where he just kind of comes in every now and then with a little, like, Sultans of Swing kind of fucking vibe.
The last two songs, honestly, on this record are very much to me, or maybe it really starts with, I think it really starts with Red Tide. So it's maybe the last three songs. And it's worth noting that two of those three are very keyboard driven.
Yeah.
Not keyboard heavy, but keyboard driven.
Uh-huh.
His fills really start to feel out of place in a way that they haven't felt before. And yeah, it's that not well integrated on the songwriting level that's just a little frustrating.
Yeah, I would disagree with Red Tide. I like Alex.
You like
on
that one a lot.
But yeah, this one and Hand Over Fist. Like Hand Over Fist, the guitar part is just basically show don't tell again. And he's got all those little chimey like Niles Rodgers kind of chords. This one just like literally like it's Sultans of Swing guitar and I'm not feeling it.
No. So,
but I mean, once again, this is the problem with a lot of Rush records, and really before we started breaking them down one by one, I never noticed, but they were really good at side A.
Yeah.
They were not ever really good at side B, and they just really had this tendency to jam their most boring songs towards the end of an album.
Last.
Yeah.
I really have, I think I said it offhandedly, but I've really talked myself into this. Rush, great singles band.
Yeah. Which is weird to say because when most people think of Rush, they think of like 10-minute long, multi-part extravaganzas.
Album length suites is, I think, a common stereotype about Rush. I'm here to tell you, 14 fucking records in, not a satisfying album length suite to be found.
No.
A more than satisfactory pile of great 4-minute pop songs.
Well, there's a reason why Chronicles exists.
Yeah.
It's the best-selling Rush album, and it took 2 CDs. It's because it's all the good singles.
I don't want to blow anybody's spot up, but I happened to be text messaging with a friend of mine, friend of the show, the other night, and he expressed dismay that we were getting to Presto. And I said, yeah, like I know Jay likes it a lot. I think it has to do with kind of when you encountered it. Because like I say, this is an expansive, good-hearted record.
Yeah.
I can see coming to this and saying, oh, this is a band for me. This is a band that is welcoming me in, right? So I just asked, like, what was your unnamed friend first Rush album? And he said, Chronicles, double tape. It's great. All killer, no filler.
Yeah, no, totally.
And I was like, oh my God. Because you never hear that from like music heads that, oh no, the first one I had was the greatest hits. And honestly, it's Ace's things.
It is. I mean, because there's even a few songs you wouldn't expect to be on there, like Lakeside Park
Right.
is on there, but there's nothing you want to skip on Chronicles. And I mean, I really think you're right. It's people don't think of Rush as a singles band, but some of their best moments are these 3 to 4 minute long songs, not necessarily these magnum opuses, and definitely not. I mean, I don't want to disparage this entire era of Rush, because Hold Your Fire had some incredible songs on it. This record has some very incredible songs on it. So did Moving Pictures, but you're not going to find a lot of this on a greatest hits record.
Right.
And I think that kind of makes sense.
I mean, so we had a minor competition, or not competition, but you challenged me to think of what are my favorite 2 songs on this record.
Yeah.
And I think I instantly was like, wow, that's kind of tough for me.
Uh-huh.
And no matter how much I've thought about it, I'm like, I don't know. Show Don't Tell and the verse part of Chain Lightning and maybe a third of the pass. There's not one, or the chorus of the pass. To me, if the chorus of the pass and the first part of the verse of Chain Lightning were together, that's a sick song.
You're not allowed to play Legos with the songs, though. That's
Why?
not how it
They
works.
did.
Yeah.
Oh,
damn. For me, it's definitely the pass and Red Tide. But,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just kind of interesting to me because it was so hard for me to find a full song that was even in the conversation, from start to finish. I hate to be this predictable, but it might be, if I have to pick a full song, Show Don't Tell and God Help Me Superconductor. Just because they both hang together.
Yeah.
And there's the high spots aren't that high, but the low spots don't feel like they absolutely should have been cut out and left on the cutting room floor.
To be fair, I had predicted Superconductor at least.
You did.
And I think it's mostly just because it has the most rockin' riff.
Oh, yeah. And, well, actually, to me, the thing I like about Superconductor, because I think the riff in Show Don't Tell is better, except for the... never a fan of... But the... It's honestly the chorus of Superconductor that I like the best. I just love that Superconductor.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know why. Again, it feels like a pastiche, but I can't quite figure out of what.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is a strange album. It's still one of my favorites. I don't know why. I think a lot of it has to do with personal experience and memory for sure, but I still really like it. I don't really like the B-side, but it is what it is.
It definitely doesn't feel like them chasing trends, because you would say, oh, it sounds like them trying to chase a trend, but then you're like, name the trend.
No, this is 1989. This was not the trend in 1989.
Yeah, it's them maybe at most trying to write what they think pop songs are.
Yeah.
And they're maybe a tiny bit misguided about what constitutes
I'm trying to think
pop.
the trend in 1989 was Red Hot Chili Peppers playing Higher Ground.
We were about to get, exactly. Faith No More was about to drop Epic.
I think that was already out.
Yeah. But not when they were recording this, probably. I think this is still everybody in the giant hangover of the Joshua Tree, right?
That sounds fair. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. The U2 kind of aftermath.
Yeah. Green. For some reason I kept thinking about REM's Green during this, because part of it, Alex definitely has some use for that Peter Buck guitar style.
And this is Rush's Green for sure.
Yeah. Well, except Green is pretty good.
And has a lot of memorable hooks.
Yeah, and answers a question nobody at that time thought they needed answered, which was, what if REM, but you could hear what Michael Stipe was singing?
I'm trying to think of what songs were on Green other than Radio Free Europe and...
Radio Free Europe.
that was on Document, yeah.
No, that was way earlier. That was their first single from
What was on
81.
Green other than Stand?
Stand, Finest Work Song.
Oh, Finest Work Song, yeah. Don't Go Back to Rockville? No, that was old too.
I think that was earlier. That was way earlier. But yeah, Green was the big rock record.
What was the one, Shall We Talk About the Weather... That was on there.
That was,
Pop Song 89.
Yes, Pop Song 89. Thank you. Hi.
That's the one I was trying to think of.
Hi.
I love that song. I think I can remember your name.
Yeah.
Name. Yeah. Okay.
So, thanks for tuning into our Rush podcast where we talk about REM songs.
It's all right. We've talked about Rush a lot.
We really did. This may have to be a two-parter, but...
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't necessarily want to drop Presto as a two-parter. And since it's been like 6 months, maybe just a very long episode.
Rush made everybody else wait.
That's true.
Okay, so, Presto really sounds to me like the magic was gone.
Oh, how long have you been sitting on that?
About 10 minutes.
That's pretty bad. Don't worry, though, because next time we're going to talk about the album where Geddy Lee raps.
I don't know. There's only one thing I like with Bones, and that's to leave them where they are and not move them in any kind of rotational way whatsoever.
Not roll them.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine such a thing.
Oh, we haven't done the thing with the really, really hard to understand.
Oh, right. Okay,
metric.
Sorry. On a scale of 1 to 10, leave that thing alone, where 1 represents I don't want to leave this alone at all.
I love it.
I want to interact with it all the time. Like it's a warm, floppy puppy.
Uh-huh.
Whereas 10 represents I maximally want to leave that alone.
Okay.
How many leave that thing alones does this get for you?
This is so hard for me because it's like a different answer from me now than from me when I experienced it. So I'm going to kind of average it out, I guess.
No, just give both. Give both scores.
Okay, so back in the day, like this would definitely be like a 9 for me. Like
No.
Yeah,
that would be a 2.
It would be a 2.
You're right. You want not
It would
at
be a
all to
2.
leave that thing alone.
I do not want to leave this
You
alone.
want to play with it
because
all the time.
I listen to this all the fucking time.
Right.
Like in my CD jam box with the mega bass button.
Yes.
All the time. Nowadays, I guess maybe a 5.
Okay.
Because I think there are some really strong songs on the front side of this record. However, I think there's a lot of boring stuff too.
Yeah, I think I would have to come in exactly at a 5 because this record does not anger or offend me, but I literally cannot imagine ever wanting to hear it. So like if it were on in the background, I would be like, this is fine. And if it weren't on in the background, I would also be like, this is fine.
Yeah. I definitely see myself listening to The Pass a lot in the coming, next couple weeks. Now that I've been reminded it exists, I can see myself listening to Red Tide quite a bit. Beyond that, I don't know. It's
I can already
take them
tell,
or leave them.
Ever since we've recorded the Hold Your Fire episode, I have had off and on Force 10 in my head.
Yeah.
And I can already tell that it's going to be show don't tell off this one.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to be standing.
That's a good point.
I'm going to be standing in line for some falafel, and I'm going to be like, bam, 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 show don't tell. All right, I'm going to go get some falafel.
I'm starving. All right. Thank you for listening to us drunkenly ramble about Rush.
I'm not even that drunk. I'm just rambling. But yeah, thank you so
That
much.
makes one of us.
We're so sorry we made you wait this long. Hopefully it was worth it. And if it wasn't, well, we'll try harder next time to pull a rabbit out of our hat.
I have nothing. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Until next time, waggle the wand.